Hey, what's going on YouTube? As you can tell, I took my fender flares off, my side steps. Anyway, mostly just in preparation for how wide my tires are going to be by the time I put the 10-inch wide rims and everything on. So I saw somebody on YouTube or a picture somewhere of guys having the plastic rivets inside the holes where you take the fenders off. So I'm going to show you what I'm doing on mine in preparation for doing ride-on-line where the fender flares used to be. So you can see with the no fender flare. So here's what I'm doing. These are called plastic rivets. And you can get a plastic rivet kit from most auto parts store. They're usually used to hold like electrical systems and things like that in place, electrical wires and different stuff like that. But what I'm using them for is, I'll show you here on the back. When you take your fender flares off, what you'll have is inside the panel here, you'll have a 10mm bolt that goes through, that's hooked to the inside of the fender flare. Then these are the plastic clips that go through the fender. You can see where the fender flare used to be. And what I'm doing, just to prepare for the rhino lining, is I'm taking these little plastic rivets, I'm putting silicone on the inside lip here, and then I'm running them inside those holes to plug up the holes. And then that way, if I ever want to, here's an example of what it looks like. So here's two with the plastic rivets. 1, 2, already siliconed, and then that's what the hole used to look like. So what I'm doing is I'm going to take bed liner, like rhino liner, which you would coat the bed of your truck with to protect it, and I'm going to mask off right where the fender flares used to be and paint this whole section with rhino line. And the reason that I'm using these is because if I ever want to go back to the fender flares, all I'll have to do is take a razor blade, cut around these rivets, or where the rhino lining is, pop the rivets out, and then I'll be able to just put my fender flare back on. And once I paint it with rhino line, I don't think that these rivets are going to be all that noticeable. In fact, it just looks better. Even if I wasn't going to rhino line it, I think it looks better with the plastic rivets in there instead of big old holes. So anyway, I thought I'd give you guys a status update on the build. So the plan is just to silicone the plastic rivets. I silicone just this inner lip right here. I find the right size in my little kit. I shove them in the hole, and then I'm going to rhino line over the top of them. So stay tuned and I'll mask it off, and anyway, we'll be right back. Hey, one other thing to keep in mind, guys, that I forgot to tell you about is back here on the doors, where you'll have to drill out a couple rivets for a bolt bracket that you bolt. The bracket sits out like this, and then the fender bolts up through the bottom. You drill the rivets out, but the problem I ran into is my new plastic rivets are a little too long. So here, I'm just going to show you what I do. Hopefully you can tell what I'm doing here. So what I do first is I just clean the paint surface with a little bit of carb cleaner and a rag. I'm going to take my plastic rivet and I'm going to put silicone onto this lip. Okay, so now my silicone is on my little lip right there. Next step is I'm going to take my dikes and cut it shorter, because just on the ones on the doors, on the back doors, they're a little too long. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shorten it. So now you got your shortened siliconed rivet. I'm making a mess because I'm trying to do a good job for you guys. And I'm just going to take my rivet, put it in the hole, snap it in place. And you got the goopy silicone. So you just take your rag wherever you left it last. Sorry for the bad footage. Yeah, I don't know where my rag is. Anyway, so that's it. You just scoop it, stick it on there to make it watertight. Wipe your silicone up with a rag, and then I'm going to do that one. These two, I'm going to pop this guy out, and then it's the same thing. It's just a hole, different size hole, but it's same concept as this. And you just do all of them, and then you end up with a fender with no holes in it. And then you can just mask it off and rhino line it. Hopefully this is helping. Alright, so here it is with the rivets in place. And all I did now was I took this body line right here that the fender flare created. I just masked it up on the outside all the way around it. Sanded it all down. Sprayed it down with carb clean. Cleaned it up, or you can use acetone. And then I just took some of your roll-on rhino liner from the auto parts store, or Walmart, or whatever, and I just rolled it on there. So I don't know, I don't love it, but it'll be a little bit more rugged than paint, and those rivets are a little more noticeable than I thought they would be. But like I said, if I don't like it, all I got to do is take a razor blade, cut around the outsides of these rivets, pop them out, and I can just shove that fender flare back on there. So anyway, that's what it looks like finished. And you decide to run it. Hope this helps. This gives you an idea. If you guys want to see the continued build of my 1994 Fzj80, I'm building it on 37s, E-locked front and rear. You're going to get to see me do 529s, E-lockers, and bumpers and sliders. Alright, stay tuned.